I'll take as we are. So, hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Now, you're probably wondering why we've uploaded so much recently. It's because we're trying to catch up. So much time we spent not uploading. But today, what we're going to be doing, as you can tell by the title, is a very quick match preview for the match coming up against Motherwell. Now, we're playing away against Motherwell.
We're trying to catch up. So
I'm hearing myself and your speakers, man.
Yeah, I just forgot.
You need to get your earphones in.
Yeah, just go on. And you go, sorry.
Yeah, go on. So, the game's coming up on Sunday, and we're playing against Motherwell. Now, what social media's been saying basically is we think that we're going to walk this because Motherwell's the one team that we want to play because they can't beat us, and they've lost Scott McDonald. But what people are forgetting is they do still have a threat in the likes of Louis Moult. Blair, first and foremost, what do you think the score is going to be?
I would say, I said 3-0, so I'm going to stick with 3-0.
Going for 3-0. Well, that's very slightly different to mine. I'm going for a 3-1. I'm pretty confident in the side to win, particularly with wins against Watford, a draw against Marseille, and a confident win against Sheffield Wednesday. Do you think that later stage of the pre-season is an indication as to how we're going to play at the start of the season, hopefully going through the season?
I think it's a good indication of the team gelling and getting together to form a proper, team that have got some chemistry and know how to win. But the first game of the season, we've seen it last season, it completely not utterly changes your viewpoint from what it was 2 matches ago. But going into it, we should be more than confident enough to get the win, I think, even though it's away from home.
So last season in a pretty diabolical Rangers team, the one team that we wanted to play and the one team that we were almost guaranteed to beat was Motherwell. Do you think that they're going to be our easy rivals this season as well?
Well, I know we're going into the game with 2 injuries already, and that's James Tavernier and Nico Kranjčar. So those are 2 dead ball specialists, which is usually something you need at Fir Park at times to, get the ball into the box. But I think we should be able to, I say that, I'm not saying an easy opponent. They have strengthened. I think it's something like 10 signings or something this season they've made, similar enough to Rangers. So they've definitely went out and bought and strengthened, so to speak. So hopefully we get the win, but I wouldn't say they call them an easy opponent this season at all.
One thing that you spoke about was dead ball expert and lumping the ball up the field. One thing that I will say to that is we do have Bruno Alves. Bruno Alves has been a dead ball, particularly free kick expert throughout his career. Also in the Italian Serie A, he was the second. He was the player with the second highest amount of. The second player with the most accurate long balls. In relation to the amount of long balls that he actually tried. I think he successfully sent up about 93 long balls throughout the season, which is ridiculous. Second only to Bonucci of Juventus. But moving on, do you think that Tavernier and Nico Kranjčar, we both said, are out injured, and now they were both playing throughout most of the pre-season games. So do you think that will change the fluidity of the team, them not playing?
Well, we know that Hodgson played against Sheffield Wednesday. And Kranjčar's been missing. I wouldn't say it changed because you've still got Jack, who does. It's quite a utility man. He keeps the game flowing for Rangers just now. And there's also you've got the wingers, and Candias he gets the ball down and runs with it and finds spaces, make crosses and passes. So it could change slightly, but I think the team you've seen against Sheffield Wednesday is probably the team you'll expect to start against Motherwell on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair shout. So are you confident with Lee Hodgson replacing Tavernier?
I was looking at I wrote an article for the website a couple of days back and put Lee Hodgson down as one of the players expected to leave. And I think that still could be the case. I don't think he's the answer, even as backup, because if either Lee Wallace or Tavernier get long-term injuries, I don't think he's an answer as a long-term solution to that position. He's solid enough, but I'm not been overly impressed with him, to be honest. But I think he can do a job and come in and do the job, but I don't think he's a long-term solution.
That's fair enough. I mean, every fan's going to have a different opinion, but I personally agree with that. I don't think he's a standout player, but he's a defender that doesn't need to stand out, and that surely means that they're doing their job most of the time, right? But I think my only issue with Tavernier, and I hope he gets this right when he comes back, is his consistency, in the sense that he'll bomb up the wing and then jog back, leave the defence open in a gap, in the sense that we'll then get counter-attacked and a goal will be conceded. But in that sense, is Lee Wallace not the same? Do you think it was the right decision to make Lee Wallace a captain, or for Pedro Caixinha to allow Lee Wallace to continue to be the captain this season?
I think probably the reason, if this has been the reason for him to stay captain, is probably just not disrupting the team. Disrupting the team absolutely horrendous at this time of the season. So I think it'd be a good idea to keep him captain, should have been stay captain. I think after this season we'll probably work that out. Because if you see this sort of lack of leadership in the park, I think his time's up. Even though he's been through divisions and stuff, I don't think he'll be captain much longer if we don't see an improvement in leadership on the part this season.
Again, that's fair enough. For me personally, when you're a captain, you need to set the example all the time. Otherwise, captaincy will be strict of you. That's what's happened in Rangers teams previously. The one thing I'd like to see more of from Lee Wallace is just to, be barking in the players' faces when they're making mistakes. Maybe the only reason why he's not is because he knows he makes mistakes too. But that's, beside the point. Lee McCulloch did it very well at captain, so did Barry Ferguson. But moving on, Louis Moult. Louis Moult is by far Motherwell's biggest threat when you come up top, particularly after the loss of Scott McDonald. Do you think he still poses a threat without that good centre attacking midfielder and Scott McDonald behind him?
I think Louis Moult just makes chances on his own, doesn't he? He can change the game in a minute. I think that's why Motherwell rate him so highly, and quite rightly so. He scored quite a few goals last season as well. Definitely a player that, if you're looking for a proven SPL goal scorer, you would go for. But I don't think he'll be any less a threat. I don't know about the new players they've signed, so the new players that they've signed might just be more as a threat, if not, more, as Scott McDonald was last season.
So last season we had, plus way more than 30 home game unbeaten run. But the issue was when we played away. Do you think that issue is going to replicate itself this season? And if so, if our first game is in fact away to Motherwell, does that still represent the same threat as it was last season?
Sorry, what represents the same threat?
Basically, last season, we couldn't perform away from home, but we had this ridiculous unbeaten record at home. Do you think that playing away at the first game of the season still poses the same threat as it did apparently last season?
I think it will give us a good gauge on where the team's at. It's a good early test. I think for Park, the ground, the actual, the surface isn't the best. So a good early season test where it, can give us a good insight as to how we'll perform from home. I think we'll have to wait and see. But I'm definitely expecting a good defensive performance on Sunday. This is one of the main things that I'm excited to see is Bruno Alves and Cardozo bossing that back four, because we've not seen that in such a long time in the Rangers team.
Absolutely. So do you think, as we stated, Louis Moult is a man who only needs chances of his own to bury. Do you think that Bruno Alves and Cardoso, silly question here, can stop Louis Moult?
I think, especially Bruno Alves, he's a professional, isn't he? So he knows he'll be told by Pedro Caixinha, this is the man we need to stop. One of the main threats of the team is Louis Moult. The rest of the team will have players will mark and players will, but I think Bruno Alves will be told, this is the man you need to mark. And I think, hopefully, that Bruno Alves will bully Louis Moult on Sunday. And if he does, it'll probably give you a good insight into how the rest of the season will go for that back four.
Bruno Alves is the type of player who's known to make a statement in the sense that he'll do a hard challenge, even collect a yellow card. Do you expect him to do that on Sunday?
If need be, to put Louis Moult in his place, make sure that Louis Moult knows that Bruno Alves is there. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. I think that the presence of Bruno Alves should be enough for Louis Moult to, stand back and sort of take in who's against. But let's not forget, we've got Cardozo sitting next to him, who is quite a unit in himself, to be honest. And he doesn't look the most terrifying defender, but he does handle himself well. So, I mean, he could go, I don't want to touch Bruno Alves, and then turn around and there's Cardozo right behind him, So.
Fun fact about Cardoso as well is that Portuguese fans couldn't believe how little he went for. He's tipped to be one of their top defenders of the future as well, and I hope that we can bring that out of him. But one of the things that I'm going to say now, me and you are both very optimistic. I said I think we're going to win 3-1. You said you think we're going to win 3-0. But Blair, what happens if, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. Believe me, I'm a very positive person. What happens if we lose tomorrow? What happens if we lose on Sunday? What happens if we lose?
I don't... Well, first of all, you can imagine Twitter and Facebook going into meltdown. Calling Pedro Caixinha not to be sacked, which...
Pedro out, yeah.
Pedro out, that'll be the next hashtag trending on Sunday if that happens. But I think we need to keep a level head. If it doesn't pan out on Sunday, we need to stand back and go, well, look, we need to... Let's not, worry. Well, we could worry, but let's not panic. We said that after the Progress result, but the signs have been more promising. So let's just take it and just say we will win on Sunday until such moment that we're not winning and we lose, and then we're like, right, then we need to deal with it, because I don't think it'll help anyone going into a game with a negative mindset, to be honest, especially even thinking about it. Wouldn't even.
So what happened the first game of last season? We were playing Hamilton and it went to a 1-1 draw. So at the start of the season, that's when you expect the results to be, at their worst. Do you think that a 1-1 draw would be acceptable, or a draw at all with Motherwell?
No. And Pedro Caixinha know this. We need to hit the ground running this season.
Particularly for the amount of money we've been spending as well.
This whole, it's the first season back is in the past now. That's no longer an excuse. The whole, this team needs to gel now, is no longer an excuse. If we don't win on Sunday, there are serious problems and there's serious questions that need to be answered, either by the board or the manager.
Just to back Blair up there, what the general consensus is of Rangers fans, particularly after such a terrible pre-season at the start, at least, Rangers fans were saying, we need to give Caixinha till the start of the season. From the start of the season, we can then judge him. And it's pretty true, isn't it? If you're not getting your results with your own team that you built, that you spent money on in the league, then, if it's not happening, it's not happening. But a lot of people still don't believe in Caixinha. Personally, I do. And that's, a real large reason as to why I think it's going to be a 3-1 win. And I see Blair's got a statement on his face.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, it would have to be, it's the manner of defeat. That's the main thing I'm worried about. How we lose the game. There's ways to lose a game, as I say, and we don't want to go out and lose, to Motherwell and not be outplayed, but not play to our best. After the performance against Sheffield, I am looking for a performance on Sunday.
Absolutely, me too. We had enough of that last season, didn't we? Board draws and only winning by 1 goal, despite the fact we had numerous amount of chances, we just couldn't finish. Hopefully, with the bringing in the likes of Herrera, Morelos, maybe even Candeas, now we can get more clinical goals. But Josh Windass now, he seems to be confident in front of goal too, when last season seemingly he didn't. Blair, is there anything else you would like to add at the end?
No, let's just hope for a win on Sunday. I'm not going to say I'll win or how we win. I want a confident win. I want a 2 or 3 goal win margin, and I want us to, start the season of meeting to go on, so to speak.
Absolutely. We are both optimistic as well. Before people start typing in something like, these guys are idiots, they're negative, we're not. We're really optimistic. We hope that we win. Blair, are there any comments that we need to read at all?
Right, so I'm going to have to go back on and make sure that the sound isn't on, or I'll have 2 bends in my ear and I can barely.
How many are there?
There's 62 viewers right now. And we are looking, I'm just looking at loading up the page just now, and we'll pause that and we'll look at the comments down at the side. Magic Robot Man says the pressure will be too much on Pedro if we lose, especially if it's not an unlucky result. Who else we got? Luke Randall says, Walker, we have enough strikers, don't need Mo.
Luke Randall is an absolute legend of the channel, by the way.
Yeah. Mark Leach says, Ryan Jack would make a great captain once he's fully settled, and maybe a future captain, him or Dorrans. Which is true, I could see that. Yeah. Adam Does Upload says, Ben, where do you think we will get in the Cups this season?
In the Cups? Well, if you go by the players' mentalities, what you really only have to go by. Lee Wallace reckons that we have the potential to go all the way through in the Cups. If we're not going to win the league, then we have to at least, win a cup, if not both. So I'm hoping that we can win both cups. I'm not as optimistic for the league. I hope that we push whoever is first, most probably Celtic, all the way through to the end of the season. But I want us to do a treble. I don't think it's going to happen realistically, but I do think we have the potential to, particularly, maybe I'll eat my words after the first few games of the season, but I hope not. After then, we'll be able to say properly.
Matt Morris says, I'm confident we will win, and comfortably. Nova FFA says, if we win, I can imagine the hashtag. And last but not least, before we cut this stream, the real Callum Anderson says, thoughts on Naismith coming back?
Blair, you take it away.
Right, so let's get this straight. We've been linked with Mo, Naismith and Walker in the past 2 to 3 weeks, right? Now, we know Mo can score goals, and the SPL, he's done it for Motherwell consistently. Walker, again, another proven goal scorer, albeit he can create more goals. And Naismith is obviously an old fan's favourite, turned villain after admin. Right, so thoughts on Naismith coming back? Nah, not for me.
Not for you personally.
Not
That's
for me.
fair enough. I mean, for me personally, I would take him back because, you know, he's got the penetration. He's got everything that we need. Penetration, that's funny the way I say it like that. But yeah, no, proven in every league that he's gone to. But what some fans say is that he's just been previously before him leaving, they reckon that he was average for us. Personally, I didn't really see that. I thought he was a good solid player consistently. But there you go. Every fan's different. And I'm not saying my opinion's right whatsoever. Blair, is that everything just now?
I think, right, one more question from John Falls, because, you know, John's a good man. What about our defence? Do you think it'll be more solid this term? I've sort of covered that, but on you go.
Yeah, absolutely. As Blair stated earlier, I think Portuguese pairing between Bruno Alves and Cardoso should do the trick. The question is, what happens if one of them gets injured? Danny Wilson, I'm sure, can do the job when he's paired next to one of them, particularly if they show defensive stability. When I don't think that Danny Wilson is like the leader at the back. If there's two of them, I don't think Danny Wilson's got the capability to be a leader, but he can be a follower. So yeah, I'm confident that the defence this time round, hopefully being consistently Bruno Alves and Cardoso at the back, I'm very confident that the defence will be a lot stronger this time round. Thank you for sending in the question, John. You could have been here.
Right, man. I think that's us.
Right, so thank you very much. If you enjoy the video, make sure that you like and subscribe. Above all, please subscribe and make sure you show friends. So thank you very much.
Right. Bye.